tankers, and welcome back to another one of my tank comparisons. Today we are going to be comparing the IS-3 Defender to its other Tier 8 counterparts, along with some great gameplay, and we're going to take a look at the armor profile too. So, starting off, you can see that the damage per minute of the IS-3 Defender is actually a very low 1884. Which you may be asking why it is much lower, but some people may not know this, that the IS-3 Defender isn't actually an autoloader with 3 shells in it. Because of this, the damage per minute of the other two tanks are 2035. The penetration on the Russian premiums are all very similar at being 221 compared to the Glacial's 215. The alpha damage is across the board the same. Since the IS-3 Defender has less damage per minute, its rate of fire is also less because it is being an autoloader. The Glacial has a 5 round of minute, and that is the same as the IS-5. The Glacial also has a 12-second reload, same as the IS-5, as they are using the same gun. However, the IS-3 Defender has a 23-second clip reload, and you may think, well, its clip must be very good. Well, it's actually, you have to wait 7.5 seconds per each shell. So you'll shoot off the first shell just fine, but you're going to have to sit out and open if you want to shoot that person for 7.5 seconds. Because if you back up, you will mess up your aiming time when you pull back out, and its aiming time is not the prettiest. So it'll take you a total of 15 seconds to shoot off your entire clip. The caliber is 122, which is the same on all of these tanks. However, one surprising thing is that the Glacial has a 900 feet per second shell velocity, where the IS-3 Defender and IS-5 have a 1400, which is very impressive. The aiming time is 3.01, which is, as you can see, the worst, even being worse than the IS-5, which, trust me, you will see how bad the IS-3 Defender's aiming time is. The Glacial is actually the healthiest at 2.81, and the IS-5 is 2.9. The dispersion, however, is not the worst at being 0.381 compared to the 112 and IS-5's 0.389. The on-movement turret rotation is also a bit quicker at being 0.24 compared to the Glacial's 1/4 and the IS-5's 0.26. The depression is 7 degrees, which most people do not know. It has crazy gun depression, don't know why. The Glacial has 6 degrees, which is still pretty good, judging that it is based on a Russian tank, and the IS-5 only has 5 degrees. The speed forwards is also very quick at being 40, compared to the Glacial's poor 32. The IS-5 does go 42, which is very quick. The Defender does back up the same as the Glacial at being 15. IS-5 just goes a teeny bit slower at being 14. The power to weight ratio on the IS-3 Defender is very good at being 14. The Glacial is about the same at being 13.97, and the IS-5 is a great power to weight ratio at 15.82. The effective horsepower to ton in that circumstance is about the same. As you can see, it is better than the Glacial, but a little bit worse than the IS-5. The traverse speed across all of these tanks, the Glacial actually has a quicker by 2 at being 28 compared to the IS-3 and IS-5's 26. The credit coefficient for this tank is 165%. Glacial actually earns 175%, which is surprising to me. So if you do want to earn credits, make sure you pick up the Glacial over the Defender. And the IS-5 is like $6 to buy, so that tank doesn't really matter. The repair cost, as you can see, is also the most at being 7.5 compared to the Glacial's 4.5 and the IS-5's 6.5. So that's something else to keep in mind if you are wanting to gain credits. The view range on the IS-3 Defender is, however, the best at being 259 compared to the 253 the other two have. The hit points is also very high at being 1550. The Glacial has 1500, and then the IS-5 has 1550. The weight is also very heavy at being 48 tons, the same as the IS-5. but the Glacial is a little bit less, being 45. The hull armor we will take a look at in Armor Inspector in a teeny bit is 110 in the front. The Glacial has 120 in the front, and the IS-5 is 120. The turret armor, however, is super strong on the IS-3 Defender too, at being 250. The Glacial's 240, and the IS-5's 200. The average win rate in the IS-3 Defender, as you can see, is a 58% out of an average of 1,800 players, compared to the 53% in the Glacial of 1,052 players, and the 54% out of 8,000 players in the IS-5, which is just an insane amount. Now let's take a look at the armor, though. So this is an IS-3 Defender aiming at this. So as you can see frontally, it doesn't actually have much armor on the hull. It's about 188, 190. It does have these little metal plates in the front, as you can see right here. You can see the outline of. You do not want to shoot them. They're parts of track. It's about ranging up to 230 in those spots. And since this is a pike nose design, it ranges more on which angle you're at. The upper structure, the whole armor of this tank is about 180 to 200. This red part on the edge, never try to shoot. That is actually spaced armor. You will never go through that. That is why it is so tough to pen a Russian tank with heat rounds. The side armor of this tank is a very strong, about 160 to 150. But if you do want to pen it with heat, you should shoot it in the lower part underneath the tracks, at it is only being 90 thick. You can see the turret is super strong, though. It being 300, 270, 250, you're really not going to penetrate the turret. Even when loading heat, it is still very hard to pen, as you can see. The rear armor of this tank is also very strong, at being 105 at the lower plates and 80 at the upper, but you can be HE'd by ISUs or RHMs, and some T-49 shells can come through, so make sure you are very careful. When using its 7 degrees of gun depression, though, which it gets, which is insane, you can see that those plates of tracks become about 278, which is very thick, and the normal hull now is about 220. The upper structure is about 230, so you can see that this tank is just super hard to pen, and it's very fast, so it's able to keep up with you if you're trying to run away. But enough with this, let's get stuck into some gameplay. The first replay is on Fort Despair, and we are going to be playing against some good tanks. The VK-100P I have named the Russian Heavy Tank Killer just because it has such an accurate gun, and yet it has so much armor. The inaccurate guns on the Russian tanks are unable to hit it and penetrate, where the gun on the VK can easily pen the Russian armor. That tank just alone is scary to an IS-3 Defender, which has such a bad aiming time. You can see that this tank actually does not get a huge loadout of ammo, holding 18 APCR. Like you can see, I only hold 6 heat and 6 HE, just because it really doesn't get that much ammo. And straight off the bat, I drive right into that building. You can see its armor working great for the first shot. He is running the stock gun, though. You can see me very aggressively side scraping. Gonna pen him in the front track wheel. Would like to get a shot into that Panther, not Panther, 59 Patton. He is flanking, so I'd like to keep an eye on him. But you can see this tank is just so good at side scraping. And I added my hit point buff, so it actually gets 1,645 hit points when you do that. But within the first clip, you can see I've already done 1,182 damage, which is very nice. Gonna get another shell in for him, get my precision fire skill, max roll him. I see this sneaky 59 Pat behind, but I have no time for that as I snap a shell right into that Gravedigger's turret for 400. And I see that my team is falling apart from behind from this guy, so snap a shell to him for 300. And I am on a clip reload now. So I am in a very big problem here as I have a VK, Gravedigger aiming at one side of me, and a 59 Patton. God, I don't know why I keep messing that one up behind me. So I'm going to first unload on that Patton just because he is lowest. Do not want more than one tank against me. So he's going to try and get behind his teammate, snap him. Then I'm going to probably get this T-43 as he could be a potential one-shot. As you can see, he's very low now. Gonna tap him, blow him up. I have 160 health now, and you can see I'm just bouncing shell after shell from this Gravedigger. 1, 2, 3. 3 shells I've bounced from him. Only one has gone through. As you can see, the trollish Russian side armor. And I have somehow managed to survive this game with 3,508 damage, managing to block 2,975, which is very good. I would have loved to have gotten that final shot in that VK. I just didn't manage to get it in time. That would have been probably around 4,000 and probably a mastery. But you can see that I earned 80,000 credits, which is decent. I probably would have earned better in most other premiums. As you saw on the comparison, the Glacial earns more. T-34 earns quite a bit. Low earns the most, actually. You can see best on the team, I would hope. Shots fired 9. Actually, all 9 out of 9 hit, which did surprise me, judging on how inaccurate this gun is. I did do quite a bit of damage, 3,500, which is nice for this gun. You can do it very effectively, though, if you have a good enough team. I received 30 hits. I will say, though, those 90% of them were from the Gravedigger, so it was more like, I'd say about maybe 10 hits, but 19 of those did bounce and 11 pen, so I will say that I did do very good on the armor scale. Credits, you can see I earned 113,000. Vehicle repairs were 11,000. Ammunition's very cheap, as you can see, 10,000. Provisions were my 10,000. So without provisions, you'd be earning around 90,000 credits. But enough with this. Let's go into the second replay. Now, the second replay is on Himmelsdorf. And again, we are against some big tanks. One of them being the T-20 prototype, as he has a 8.5 second shell reload. So that tank, if it puts on fast reloader, is able to out-reload me for 15 seconds, which is how long my clip is. So that tank can actually out-reload me, and if I bounce one of my shells, he will kill me very easily. There's also an AMX. This tank does not do very well against autoloaders that have way quicker shell time, where it can load into me very well. But starting off, you can see I'm going to be capping base C, and this AMX gets very aggressive and already is clipping me out, as I cannot do anything to him really until my 7.5 seconds. But as he has gotten me very angry because he wiped off 1,000 of my hit points, I'm going to shoot him and lower him very easily. Now that we have cleared him, I made a very funny remark yelling at him because I was very frustrated, as you can imagine, losing 1,000 of my health within the first minute of the game. But now I'm going to be pushing on this SPIC. Unfortunately, it does push back, but since this tank has such a great speed, you know, I can just keep pushing here. I don't really care about the bases in Supremacy that much. I'd rather get more damage out, and, you know, I'd rather be more effective to my team than sit and cap a base. Because as you can see, my Dracula is being butchered alive by those tanks. Now is a time where you want to question yourself if you should reload that clip, because you have such a long clip reload of 23 seconds. Is it always worth it to save that one shell when you could always reload the clip? But I do decide to reload the clip, so I do think I made the right choice there. But you can see I have to wait the whole 20 seconds, and I don't want to be spotted. So I'm just going to sit behind this building very patiently. Loading HE for that SPIC. I am going to slowly sneak behind him. There's a little bit of his tank sticking out. The accuracy once works for me, and it manages to go right through. So far it's a 3 versus 3. The SPIC is not much of a threat. I tap him, he's dead. Go back to APCR, but I do notice that the STA's rear is to me, so I get another HE for 501 into him. And now I'm on another 20-second clip reload, which isn't a pain. We got a Tiger P, and then we've got this STA. So I'm going to ram him, because why not? You know, bring him down to 62 health. And the Tiger P is a big threat because he can pen me, but I'm going to haul down on this guy, face hug, snap the shell in. Tiger P pens me for 204. Now, this Tiger P does have enough damage to potentially kill me, but he low rolls me for the lowest roll I've ever seen at 165, and I snap the shell right into his rear, killing him. Too bad that AT took some of the damage, right? But we do 3660 damage, and as you can see, I only bounced 460 damage this game. I have noticed, as you saw in Armored Spectre, it's only about 180 to 200 thick. So really, any tank that's going against you can either A, load premium ammunition, or B, just go right through you with stock standard penetration, as being that pretty much every tier 8 heavy has about 220 to 230 pen. But you can see, again, we earned around 80,000 credits, being 78,000. Same damage too, only 100 difference. We did get 1900 experience. As you can see though, this tank is just such a strong push. You're able to destroy whatever is in front of you, not very quickly, but very effectively. And you have enough hit points and armor to do so. As you can see, I did fire all 11 of my shots, and all 11 did hit in pen. If you give the gun time to aim in, it does become very accurate. The problem is just that aiming time is so long on the move, your shells, it's not even worth it to take a shot. As you can see, I'll pull up the aiming time. It's around 6 seconds, I'm pretty sure. It's just so bad. You have to make sure you put on the aiming time for equipment. It's a 6-second aiming time, and that is with both equipment on it, making it without that a 7-second aiming time. So if you really wanted to take a shot on the run, if you thought about it, you could take the first shot on the run and actually sit still a whole 7 seconds for your second shell and be aimed in a half a second early before you actually get your second shell in, which is very funny. I do like the look of this tank. It's very futuristic, which is very cool. If you haven't noticed, the little sparks pop up in the Tesla coils in the back, which is nice. But I do think this tank is still a little overpowered. The first time I bought it, I did not actually like it. I was not doing well. But if you're very patient with the gun and you wait for it to aim in, as you can see in these two battles, these were just two battles I played one after each other. And you didn't even get to see me really use my 7 degrees of gun depression, which this tank has, which makes this turret armor even more impenetrable. But enough said here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one.